The school beauty, who used to be an academic underachiever, got bound to a bonus point system, scoring 50 points higher than me in every exam. As long as I perform normally, she can effortlessly get into Tsinghua or Peking University. After I discovered her secret, she became terrified, fearing I might deliberately flunk the college entrance exam by scoring 0. She sent my childhood sweetheart to persuade me, begging me not to sabotage my own results. I asked my childhood friend, why should I just give the school beauty 50 points for no reason? His gaze turned solemn. Because she liked me for 6 years, she shouldn't miss out on a good university. I didn't say anything, just nodded. Fine, I'll give her 50 points. I scored 710 points. Let us see how this genius who got 760 points will handle this. When my childhood friend Patrick advised me not to slack off during the college entrance exam, my heart tightened, and I fell silent for a long time. I knew it was the school belle Elizabeth who sent him. Ever since I discovered Elizabeth's secret, she's been restless, terrified that I might hand in a blank exam paper for the college entrance exam. I'm the top student in the whole school. I could repeat a year anytime and still get into a good university next year. But Elizabeth can't. She only has the ability to get into a junior college this year. College entrance exam is her only chance to turn her life around. You don't need to waste your time just to punish others. Do your best this year. We promised we'd strive for Tsinghua and Peking University together. Seeing my silence, Patrick spoke again, a gentle smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He hasn't smiled at me like this in a long time. Ever since Elizabeth confessed her feelings to him, his attention seemed to drift, and his gaze would linger on Elizabeth, intentionally or unintentionally. Although he still stayed by my side constantly and repeatedly rejected the breakfasts and love letters Elizabeth sent him. He even once publicly scolded Elizabeth, telling her to stop pestering him. As the college entrance exam approached, he still decided to help Elizabeth. Give me one reason why I should just hand Elizabeth 50 points for no reason. I stared intently at Patrick. His gaze wavered momentarily before he calmly replied, I just don't want you to perform poorly. We're both capable of scoring above 680. There's no need for you to get 0. He lying. I know him too well. The slightest change in demeanor is an outward manifestation of a guilty conscience. Tell me the truth. Do you like Elizabeth? I finally pierced through that layer of window paper between us, even though my heart kept contracting painfully. Patrick's expression visibly changed, his gaze flickering as he let out a deep sigh. Elizabeth has liked me for 6 years, from naive innocence to youthful shyness. I've witnessed her growth while repeatedly avoiding her affections. Her heart has always been with me, which is why her grades suffered. In truth, she's a very intelligent and diligent girl. Had she not fallen for me, she probably would have been a top student. Patrick's tone was gentle, his eyes holding an unshakable light, as if speaking about his most beloved younger sister. I remember how he used to introduce me to his friends in the same manner. I laughed at myself, then asked him one final question with a smile. What would you do if I handed in a blank exam for the college entrance test? Patrick's eyes froze for a moment as he tried to reassure me. Don't act on impulse. You have what it takes to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. I said nothing, just stared at him without blinking. I need a definitive answer. He frowned and could only respond directly. I've failed Elizabeth for 6 years. If I can't even help her with this, then I'll choose to retake the exams with her and change her life. In other words, if I submit a blank exam paper for the college entrance exams, Patrick will retake them with Elizabeth next year. He didn't forget to add, as for you, Clara, I hope you can be more generous and less selfish, helping Elizabeth. Isn't such a difficult thing to do. 3 indeed. What's so difficult about helping Elizabeth out? I just need to perform normally. If I score 680 and she gets 730, it would directly set a provincial record, even a national college entrance exam raw score record. She could then become a nationwide sensation, the top scholar celebrity. Her life was about to soar to new heights. This was exactly what Patrick had hoped for. Suddenly, I felt exhausted, utterly drained of all meaning. All these years I had stayed by Patrick's side, rescuing him from the darkness of his dysfunctional family. I personally tutored him, guiding him from a depressed underachiever burdened with psychological trauma to a radiant top student full of vigor. How much effort did I pour into that? And now he wants me to help another girl. What a philanthropist I am. Unwilling to say another word, I turned and walked away. Patrick's frown deepened, his tone growing heavier. Clara, are you listening to me? Don't be so selfish. I kept walking. Patrick's voice suddenly turned icy. If you don't agree, we're done. I finally stopped. My heart no longer ached. Instead, it was filled with self-mockery and relief. I nodded. Fine, I agree. Help Elizabeth properly. For I absolutely want to slack off. Because the college entrance exam is also one of the most important things in my life. How could I possibly hand in a blank paper just for Elizabeth's sake? On the contrary, I'm going to push myself to the limit, answer every question carefully, and pile up my score bit by bit. Score 710. That's right, my limit is 710. This score has been verified through countless mock exams. If I hadn't deliberately answered some major questions incorrectly, I could definitely have scored 710. I've always been controlling my score, keeping it around 680. The reason is simple. I don't want to widen the gap between Patrick and me too much. Patrick had an unfortunate upbringing, suffering from domestic violence since childhood with severe psychological trauma. Throughout the process of saving him, I've always been careful to protect his self-esteem. Test scores naturally became part of this equation. I gave him hope. We both scored around 680, which meant we could attend the same university and stay together. Now it's unnecessary. With 680 points, the chance of getting into Tsinghua or Peking University is very slim. But with 710 points, not only can you get into Tsinghua or Peking University, but you can also set a new city record in the college entrance exam and become the city's top scorer. You should know that last year S City top scorer only got 706 points. As for Elizabeth, congratulations to her, she is about to score an unbelievable 760 points. But the maximum possible score on the college entrance exam is only 750. The scene will be absolutely spectacular when that happens. I can hardly wait. 5 After school, I had completely let go of all my worries. My mind was solely occupied with predicting essay topics, solving major math problems, and meticulously calculating how to squeeze out a few extra points. Until Elizabeth stopped me. Holding a cup of milk tea, her face full of apology, she timidly called out, Clara, I'm sorry, I didn't expect Patrick to be so reckless. She studied my expression, he likes you very much, he wouldn't break up with you, threatening to break up, was just anger talking, don't take it to heart. I gazed at her calmly. No matter how genuine her expression or how tightly pressed her lips were, they couldn't conceal the glee in her eyes. She was positively gloating, utterly pleased with herself. After all, countless girls' dream guy threatened to end things with me for her sake, and I, it seems, compromised to avoid breaking up. Elizabeth not only won Patrick's love, but is also about to become a celebrity in the college entrance exams, guaranteed at least admission to Tsinghua or Peking University. Congratulations, I offered in advance, continuing to walk away. Elizabeth froze for a moment, then quickly caught up, eagerly expressing her joy. Clara, please don't be angry. I really don't want to ruin your relationship with Patrick. I know I'm not worthy. As she spoke, she handed over the milk tea. Here, have this milk tea, please don't be mad. I didn't take it, and the milk tea fell to the ground with a splat splashing all over Elizabeth's pants. Just then Patrick appeared from behind. He immediately saw Elizabeth awkwardly wiping stains off her trousers. What happened? Patrick frowned deeply. Elizabeth quickly waved her hands. It's nothing, I just didn't hold it steady. It wasn't Clara who pushed me. I'll go first. You two have a good chat. Please don't let this ruin your relationship. She hurried away, deliberately wiping away tears as she went. Patrick watched Elizabeth leave, then seeing my indifferent gaze spoke first. Elizabeth wanted to frame, you don't take it to heart, I can tell the difference. So you like this scheming bitch, I sneered. Patrick's expression darkened immediately. Don't you think she pitiful? She liked me for 6 years, devoted all her thoughts to me, even her tricks are naive. Spilling milk tea is the only move she knows. He spoke with a faint smile, the corners of his lips curling up involuntarily. He thought Elizabeth was utterly adorable. I was thoroughly disgusted. After returning home, I buried myself in studying, unwilling to waste even a single second. For the next half-month, I completely immersed myself in an ocean of knowledge, endlessly working through practice problems. Patrick and Elizabeth grew increasingly close, often seen together in classrooms and the cafeteria. A friend warned me that my boyfriend might be cheating on me. I couldn't care less. Nothing matters more than test scores. 710 points, I'm determined to get it. At last the college entrance examination arrived as scheduled. Amidst the cicadas' summer chorus, I poured out the sweat of my youth, stroke by stroke, using ink to carve out a second battlefield for my life. I never noticed that Elizabeth was in the same examination hall as me. She was even seated right behind me, observing me intently for 2 full days. As I walked out of the exam hall, she caught up with me, smiling brightly as she took my hand. Clara, you're answering the questions so meticulously, checking them over and over again, refusing to hand in your paper until the bell rings. Seems like you're not slacking off at all to keep Patrick from slipping away. Her eyes still brimmed with smugness, and she didn't even try to hide it. I scoffed, to keep Patrick from slipping away. He wasn't even worth that much effort. Congratulations, I said again, those 2 words dripping with sarcasm. Because I'm absolutely confident I can score above 710. Then Elizabeth will achieve an unbelievable 760. At that point, who knows whether her system will crash or the scoring system will glitch. Either way, it'll be hilarious. Congratulations are in order. You really should congratulate me, since I'm guaranteed at least 730 points. Elizabeth grinned, deliberately tilting her head in a cute pose. 730 points, top scorer in the city, the province, the whole country. So amazing, just what you'd expect from me. She continued her self-praise, the teasing in her eyes growing more obvious. Of course, you should also congratulate me for finding true love. Forgot to tell you, the night before the college entrance exams, Patrick and I officially got together. Struggling to contain her laughter, she added, but to avoid upsetting you, we kept it quiet. We agreed to announce it tonight. So, remember to check your social media feed. 7, you're despicable. I shook my head, completely unfazed by Elizabeth's attempt to ruin my good mood. After all, I couldn't care less about Patrick. I could have poured my heart and soul out for him, but once that love was withdrawn, he was nothing more than a stray dog by the roadside. Aren't you angry? Elizabeth seemed displeased by my indifferent attitude. That's how these lowlifes are. They take immense pleasure in snatching what belongs to others, but the moment others stop caring, they feel sour inside. Shouldn't you be the angry one? After 6 years of being Patrick's lapdog, you only got your turn when I discarded him. You've been trash since childhood. I didn't hold back. It's not like I was born without a tongue. Elizabeth's face stiffened, seething with anger and resentment. She had indeed pursued Patrick for 6 years. Those same 6 years I was by Patrick's side. Your tongue is truly venomous. I hope you can keep up that arrogance when the scores come out. Elizabeth's expression darkened. Just wait until results day. I'll show you what real malice looks like. I was completely baffled. What kind of trick could she possibly pull with the results? Was she planning to publicly mate with Patrick just to provoke me? I didn't take Elizabeth seriously at all, because she was finished. Results day would be her doomsday. That night Elizabeth posted on her social media timeline it was the official announcement of her relationship with Patrick. Patrick posted too, without even blocking me from seeing it. I paid no attention, but late at night Patrick suddenly sent me a voice message. "Aren't you bothered by this? What is there to mind?" I slowly typed out A. Patrick's tone became somewhat unsteady. "Actually, I only agreed to make it official with Elizabeth to indulge her childish whims. I'll delete the post tomorrow. But you haven't reached out to me in so long, and you don't even care about me going public with Elizabeth. How long are you going to keep pretending nothing matters?" Pretending I couldn't help but laugh bitterly, so this was how Patrick saw me. If I gave up on him it would be nothing but putting on airs, stubbornly clinging to false pride. "You've misunderstood, we're already over. I wish you and Elizabeth everlasting happiness. May you have 8 babies with 16 heads. I officially declare our breakup." Patrick was silent for a moment before sending another voice message. "You're still pretending not to care, but all this mess is because of your selfish pettiness. Even though you promised not to slack off during the college entrance exams, you've been cold to Elizabeth and distant with me for so long. If you'd happily helped Elizabeth, we could still be together." So, it seems I'm the only one in the whole world seriously preparing for the exams while everyone else is lost in their delusions. What more can I say? Blocked. 9. Taking advantage of the period before the college entrance exam scores were released, I went on a trip with my friends. I didn't care about Patrick and Elizabeth at all, but my friend was quite concerned. As the score release date approached, my friend suddenly sent me a link to a couple's blog homepage. When I clicked on it, I saw that the couple bloggers were none other than Patrick and Elizabeth. They only released 5 videos, yet gained nearly 100,000 followers. The most popular video surpassed 2 million views, with the theme of Gaokao students estimating their scores. In the video, both were meticulously dressed, looking their absolute best with the Gaokao answer sheets placed on the table. During the score estimation, the two interacted warmly, radiating strong couple chemistry with flawless filming techniques. Clearly, Elizabeth is quite skilled at video editing. Of course, the biggest selling point was Elizabeth's self-estimated score of 730, while Patrick estimated his at 690. Both were solid candidates for Tsinghua or Peking University, especially Elizabeth. Her 730 score was truly extraordinary. This naturally attracted immense attention, with even some media outlets reaching out to her. Facing skepticism, she vowed solemnly, stating that 730 points was merely the lowest estimated score, and openly invited media outlets to broadcast live on the day the results were released. Clearly, Elizabeth was desperate for fame. She couldn't wait to hype herself up and start her publicity campaign. As soon as her college entrance exam scores were announced, she would instantly shock the nation and ride the momentum straight to the heavens. I sneered, waiting for her to fall into the abyss. 10. Finally, the day of the college entrance exam results arrived. On this day, our school happened to schedule graduation photos, so everyone rushed to the campus. Results first, then photos. When I arrived at school, the place was buzzing with excitement, and several media vans were parked at the entrance. Our school is the city's top high school, with media interviews every year. No surprise there, but I also noticed many self-media accounts buzzing about, frequently mentioning one person. Elizabeth. Clearly, many people came specifically for Elizabeth. Elizabeth has effectively become the city's most famous internet celebrity college entrance exam candidate. But Elizabeth never showed up, not even when the results were about to be announced. Yet she suddenly updated her video. I only found out through a friend. When I clicked to watch it, my heart turned cold. Because this is an unusual video. In the video, Elizabeth is wearing revealing clothes that show some visible old scars on her body, crying and sobbing as she speaks. "I'm sorry everyone for taking up public resources today. Was supposed to be a happy day because my college entrance exam results are coming out. But I'm under too much pressure, afraid I didn't do well. I was so scared. I had nightmares all night dreaming about that person who bullied me. My 3 years of middle school were spent enduring bullying, being burned with cigarette butts, forced to drink urine in the bathroom, slapped across the face." She cried uncontrollably, her emotions raw and unfiltered. "After barely surviving those 3 years, I thought I'd finally see the light, only to end up in the same school as my tormentor." She had reinvented herself, no longer a bully, but a top student beloved by everyone, radiant like sunshine. Elizabeth covered her face in agony, tears streaming uncontrollably. "Every time I see her, I'm terrified. I wish I could turn into a mouse and hide in a hole. I was too scared, so I couldn't hold it in any longer. Now that everyone's attention is on me today, I'm going to expose her." Elizabeth's eyes were bloodshot as she stared fixedly at the camera. "Clara from class 2 grade 3 of Linhua High School, I'm not afraid of you anymore. I've defeated you. I will definitely get into Tsinghua University. Your bullying has ultimately become the nourishment for my upward climb." I was completely stunned, me the bully. The entire class erupted in murmurs. Many students watched the video and stared at me with skepticism. Since it happened during middle school, my high school classmates couldn't verify it at all. Outside, many self-media outlets were in an uproar. They had come specifically for Elizabeth, who was estimated to score 730 points. Now that Elizabeth had exposed a bully, it naturally drew everyone's attention. Clara's name also became widely known. Shocked and furious, I suddenly understood what Elizabeth had meant when she said, "She'd show me true malice on results day. She's going to completely ruin me." In this age of advanced internet, a single rumor can kill, let alone someone like me, a bully. And the person I bullied happens to be the top scorer in the college entrance exams, estimated at 730 points. 11. I've truly never encountered someone so vicious. At the classroom door, some self-media influencers had already swarmed in, asking who Clara was. There were even some indignant do-gooders demanding that I come out and explain myself. If it weren't for my usual good rapport with classmates who all stood by me, I would be surely gotten beaten up. Fortunately, the school administrators came to restore order, and Elizabeth finally showed her face. She came with Patrick. Patrick wore a complicated expression, his head slightly lowered. Elizabeth's eyes were bloodshot, her face pale, appearing extremely weak. The moment she appeared, TV crews and independent media swarmed around her, scrambling for interviews. But Elizabeth was too exhausted to utter a single word. The school administrators stepped in again, signaling for everyone to quiet down. The college entrance exam scores would be available in just 5 minutes. They couldn't disrupt the students checking their results. Only then did the room fall silent. I watched as Elizabeth walked into the classroom, the worst student in our class, now the center of everyone's attention. She didn't look at anyone, just sat down and slumped over to rest, acting all delicate and precious. Patrick patted her on the back, then stood up and walked toward me. Stopping in front of me, he said in a low voice, "Clara, did you bully Elizabeth in middle school?" I burst into angry laughter. Patrick and I have been inseparable childhood friends. If I had really bullied Elizabeth, wouldn't he know? Were you blind back then? I demanded coldly. Patrick pursed his lips and hesitated, but Elizabeth made it sound so convincing. "What if you did bully her when I wasn't around? Can't you see she is deliberately slandering me? She just wants clout and followers. Even Tofu has brains. How come you don't?" I opened my mouth and started cursing. Patrick's face kept changing colors, still unable to fully believe me. Elizabeth turned her head and called out to him, "Patrick, stop arguing. The scores are about to come out. Don't ruin the mood." Patrick snorted coldly and returned to Elizabeth's side. And now the thrilling moment had arrived. It was time to check the scores. At this moment, no one cared about Elizabeth and me anymore. They all pulled out their phones to check their scores. I checked mine too, and as expected, my results were blocked, a privilege reserved for the top scorers in the National College Entrance Exam. The treatment given to the top 50 students in the province. Patrick checked his as well, and the classmate behind him gasped at his score. Holy shit, 682. A score of 682 is already a rare gem in our city. Patrick immediately drew everyone's attention. Moreover, he is Elizabeth's boyfriend. They appeared in videos together and have some fame. Several self-media outlets quickly turned their cameras toward him. He didn't seem to care, instead nervously checking Elizabeth's score. Elizabeth was actually glowing at this moment. Instead of immediately checking her own score, she turned and pointed at me. "I want to see that bully's score first. She is outstanding, but heaven, one let a bully get into Tsinghua or Peking University." Elizabeth kept calling me that bully, clearly trying to push me into the eye of the storm. I didn't get into Tsinghua or Peking University, so naturally I'll be mocked by thousands. If I had gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University, it would be heaven's injustice, and netizens might even mobilize public opinion to prevent me from attending. "My score has been blocked. I'm afraid you won't be able to see it." I spoke with full confidence, already planning to call the police later. I'd like to see how much longer Elizabeth can keep this up. Score blocked, top 50 in the province. The crowd erupted in murmurs. Elizabeth was overjoyed, trembling with excitement. Because my score being blocked meant it was exceptionally high, yet Elizabeth always managed to score 50 points higher than me. How impressive, from being a delinquent who trampled on others to becoming the top student everyone worships. Now your life is truly enviable. Elizabeth feigned a sigh of melancholy. I raised my hand to stop her. Enough with the act, just look at your scores. Everyone turned their gaze toward Elizabeth, especially the self-media reporters. The television cameras also focused their lenses on Elizabeth. She was today's trump card. The hype had reached its peak. If her college entrance exam score truly reached 730 points, she would become an overnight sensation, shocking the entire nation. Elizabeth thoroughly enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. The corners of her lips curled slightly as she gracefully took her seat and unlocked her phone. Everyone craned their necks to look. The reporters practically wanted to crawl into the screen. Patrick blocked the crowd while giving a warning. Elizabeth's score will also be hidden. She is definitely the provincial top scorer. Hidden or not, let us film the screen. The reporters could no longer contain themselves. Elizabeth smiled faintly and finally clicked to check her score. The screen flickered violently as if overloaded with power. Everyone froze in stunned silence. Some impatient classmates grumbled, "Damn, is this an Android version of iPhone? Or, what, since when do they glitch like this?" Elizabeth frowned, tapped her phone screen, waited for the flickering to stop before exiting, then tapped again to check. The screen still flickered, but during the brief intervals a score appeared for less than a second. 762 points, huh? A nearby reporter gasped in shock, completely stunned. Another classmate nearby also saw it, and immediately jumped up. "Holy shit, 762 points, that's definitely the national top scorer. Wait, the full score 750. The score only appeared for less than a second, so not many people saw it. But those two exclamations were enough to cause a sensation. The classroom was in shock, with officials and reporters exchanging bewildered glances. I smiled faintly. It seemed my score was 712. That would be competitive nationwide, and in our province it would practically guarantee me the top spot. After all, last year's provincial liberal arts champion only scored 709. Wait, you must be mistaken. Elizabeth was panicking at this moment. Her mind finally snapped out of its obsession with gaining followers and increasing views. If it really was 762 points, her life would be over. 13, check again, maybe we misread it. A reporter shouted, visibly exhilarated. A score of 762 was nothing short of miraculous. How could anyone not be exhilarated? Elizabeth fumbled in panic, logging out and back in again, but the screen continued to flicker relentlessly. I suspected her bonus point system was clashing with the National College Entrance Exam scoring system. One said I'll give her 762 points. Another said, are you stupid, the perfect score is only 750. After a long pause, the flickering screen finally stabilized, blatantly displaying the glaring 762 points before everyone. As expected of the system, damn impressive. The reporters were completely dumbfounded. The classmates were also stunned. Elizabeth was sweating profusely in panic, repeatedly tapping her phone. It's fake, there's a bug, don't believe it. Beside them, Patrick turned pale. He clearly realized something. I scored too high. Soon Elizabeth also realized the root of the problem lay with me. She suddenly turned her head and glared at me, looking like a demon. Clara, why did you have to score so high? You bitch, are you trying to ruin my life? She was so frantic that she lost her composure, and this abrupt outburst left everyone stunned, sparking murmurs and whispers. Patrick quickly covered Elizabeth's mouth, trying to calm her down while hastily offering an explanation. Everyone quiet. Clearly, there's a bug in the scoring system. I swear on my honor, Elizabeth scored at least 730 or higher. He truly loved Elizabeth, but people still pointed fingers. The principal came running and waved at me. Clara, come quickly. The admissions teams from Tsinghua and Peking University are here waiting for you in the office. 14. The arrival of the Tsinghua and Peking University admissions teams instantly shifted everyone's attention. A crowd of reporters surrounded the principal. May we ask what score Clara achieved on the exam? The principal couldn't stop grinning. I believe it's 712 points according to the admissions team. This undoubtedly makes her the top scorer in Guangdong province. I'm the provincial top scorer. Instantly, countless eyes turned toward me in unison. It's worth noting that our city's educational resources aren't particularly strong. We've never produced a provincial top scorer before, and we're practically invisible within the province. But now we've produced a provincial champion, and with a record-breaking score of 712 points. The reporters forgot all about Elizabeth's scoring bug, and my bullying allegations swarming toward me instead. I instantly became a celebrity with cameras shoved in my face nonstop. Elizabeth's surroundings became deserted. She sat there pale and trembling, motionless for a long time. When I finally pushed through the crowd toward the classroom door, Elizabeth suddenly stood up and shouted, the society is sick, so grades are everything now. High scores can just whitewash her identity as a bully. Go ahead and film shower her with praise. I deserve to be bullied. I deserve the system glitch. I shouldn't even be alive. She spoke passionately, tears streaming down her face. Many reporters were genuinely moved by her words and began whispering among themselves. The principal looked utterly confused. Elizabeth, what on earth are you shouting about? The principal was bustling about, completely unaware of what had just happened. A reporter asked, Principal, Elizabeth's score seems to have a bug, but she estimated 730 points. Aren't Tsinghua and Peking University rushing to recruit her? 730 points. I'd be secretly laughing if she could score 330 points. The principal rolled his eyes. I don't know why you're all crowding around filming her, and where did this rumor of 730 points even come from? The moment these words were spoken, the reporters exchanged bewildered glances. Classmates who had previously remained silent now spoke up one after another. Exactly, Elizabeth was at the bottom of the class. How could she possibly score 730? Even 300 would be generous for her. I thought I was the one dreaming this whole time. It scared me so much I didn't dare speak. Turns out you're the ones living in a fantasy. If Elizabeth can score 730, I'll marry Chen Whiting. I can marry Louis Fei. Skeptical voices rose one after another, and Elizabeth completely broke down. She burst into tears but couldn't speak. Only Patrick bravely defended her. Once the system bug is fixed, you'll see Elizabeth's real score. She's truly amazing. No sooner had the words been spoken than the vice principal rushed in. Everyone turned to look at her. She scanned the room with a grave expression and motioned to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, come here. Elizabeth's face lit up with joy. Is the Tsinghua and Peking University admissions team looking for me too? No, it's something serious. Come with me first. 15. No one knew what had happened. I had to meet with the admissions team, so I didn't pay attention to Elizabeth either. When I returned to the classroom after choosing Peking University, I found that the reporters had already left, but the students were still buzzing with discussion. Did you hear? It seems like some big shot from the capital came looking for Elizabeth, probably someone from the college entrance exam grading committee. Wasn't he their reporter, who claimed to be from the Ministry of Education? Anyway, they came from the capital, and it's related to the college entrance exam scores. Could Elizabeth have cheated? Maybe she stole the college entrance exam papers. Obviously, the situation was serious. Elizabeth never showed up until the graduation photos were taken. And I had already called the police. I was falsely accused by Elizabeth of bullying her, and the impact was severe, though it was temporarily overshadowed by the release of the college entrance exam results. In due time, I will still make headlines. Because I was the top scorer in the province. I could already see the trending hashtag in 2 days, top scoring Guangdong as a bully. 100 million trending. The entire Weibo platform crashed, and it could even lead to a digital apocalypse. So I must clear my name as soon as possible. 16. The police hadn't arrived yet when Elizabeth returned. Everyone was already saying their final goodbyes, ready to disperse. As soon as Elizabeth returned, the classmates stopped leaving and turned to look at her with curiosity. Her face was drained of color, and she fidgeted restlessly as if she had endured brutal torture. Patrick whispered to comfort her, asking what was wrong. She didn't utter a single word, only biting her lip until it turned pale. Her terror mingled with seething resentment. She resented me deeply. I noticed her stealing glances at me several times as if she wanted to tear me apart, especially when a few friends clamored for me to throw a college celebration banquet. Her face twisted with fury. I'm really afraid she might die of anger. Fortunately, the principal arrived again. Many reporters catching wind of the news also returned, eagerly questioning the principal for details along the way. The principal didn't answer. He entered the classroom, glanced at Elizabeth, then spoke in a low voice. The college entrance exam scoring system has a bug, so one of our classmates' scores couldn't be calculated by the machine. After reevaluation by the grading committee, it has been decided to invalidate this student's college entrance exam scores. The principal didn't mention any names, but even a fool would know who that student was. Elizabeth having her scores invalidated meant she effectively scored 0. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. A 0 score also made history, just the opposite of my own historic achievement. Everyone's jaws dropped, and the reporters went absolutely wild. This is sensational material. Imagine this: an internet-famous college entrance exam candidate predicted to score 730 points exposes a bully, and then the actual results come out at 762 points. Finally, the dust settled. I scored a perfect 0. The drama couldn't be more intense. Classmate Elizabeth, what exactly happened? Why did the grading committee teachers want to see you? Hey classmate, how does it feel to get 0 points on the college entrance exam? Classmate Elizabeth, you're probably the city's first top scorer with 0 points. Wait, no, not a top scorer, but still, may we ask how you managed this? A series of questions finally became too much for Elizabeth to bear. She seemed completely drained, standing up like a lifeless corpse, staring straight at me with hollow eyes. Claire, are you happy now? I was caught on camera helping you cheat, and my scores got cancelled. I'm truly cursed, bullied by you in middle school, forced to help you cheat in high school, you when you've completely won. Will you let me go if I kill myself? As soon as she finished speaking, she immediately ran toward the window. Patrick was shocked and grabbed her by the arm. She burst into uncontrollable sobs, weeping as if her heart would break. The journalists erupted in astonishment, once more abandoning all thought as they scrambled to capture this explosive moment. I couldn't help but laugh at Elizabeth's antics. How could anyone be so shameless? I strode over and stood right in front of Elizabeth. She sobbed, putting on a terrified act. I grabbed her by the collar and smiled faintly. Good, you've just provided another piece of slanderous information. Try to get yourself a few extra years in prison. What do you mean I didn't slander anyone? Elizabeth gritted her teeth and puffed out her chest. I looked toward the classroom door. The police had arrived. Go tell it to the police. Elizabeth's face instantly paled as she stared at me in disbelief. Such a trivial matter, and you called the cops. Of course, enjoy being a celebrity in jail. 17 Elizabeth was taken away, and I also had to go give a statement. The police then launched an investigation but couldn't find any evidence whatsoever. Moreover, Elizabeth was fierce in appearance, but weak within. After just a few rounds of police questioning, she completely exposed her own lies. She had been spreading rumors, even posting them online, causing serious negative consequences. I refused to grant forgiveness, and Elizabeth requested to meet me through the police. I went to see her directly. She was dejected, her whole spirit broken, sitting there trembling, as if terrified. When she saw me, she immediately burst into tears. Clara, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I don't want to go to jail. She wept pitifully, all traces of her former arrogance completely gone. I shook my head firmly. She blinked, sniffed, and wiped away her tears, then tilted her head back with a mocking stare. I froze for a moment. Her attitude had shifted too abruptly. Was it all an act just now, just messing with you, and you actually fell for it? Elizabeth sneered. I knew you'd never forgive me anyway. You're selfish and petty. Patrick's words, not mine. I narrowed my eyes. Elizabeth continued. No forgiveness. Fine. At most, it's 10 days administrative detention, a 500 yuan fine, and a public apology to you. That's all I asked. So light. My expression darkened. Elizabeth, however, was thrilled and kept taunting, fuming. Aren't you know why? Because I'm still 3 months away from being an adult. I'll get a reduced sentence. It's just spreading rumors. Did it even harm a single hair on your head? Elizabeth wasn't afraid at all, as if she had already won. Seeing her look like a dead pig that fears no scalding water, I actually stopped being angry. What a pitiful person. Fine, I'm leaving then. Remember to publicly apologize to me after you get out of prison. I stood up to leave. Elizabeth froze for a moment before calling out to me. Leaving? Why not keep flaunting your superiority in front of me like you did in middle school? Weren't you so impressive back then? I stopped in my tracks, showing off in middle school. Yet you know why I hate you so much? It's because you were always helping me, so impressive. Even Eva was afraid of you. Elizabeth glared at me darkly, like a ghost. Memories surged within me, middle school days, resurfacing in my mind. I remember Eva. She was tall and strong, always liked to bully others, especially a girl with long bangs. And every time I saw it, I would intervene. Eva's father was my father's subordinate, so she was wary of me. As soon as I showed up, she would stop bullying. Are you the girl with the long bangs? I stared at Elizabeth, and the longer I looked, the more familiar she seemed. Right, you remember now. I was bullied like a dead dog, yet with just a few words you could make Eva bow and scrape. How impressive you were. Flames seemed to shoot from Elizabeth's eyes. So I'm going to take Patrick from you. I'm going to trample over you. I'm going to be the top scorer in the college entrance exams. I was momentarily speechless. The victim harbors no resentment toward the perpetrator, but instead directs hatred toward the rescuer. Even the saying, a peck of kindness leads to a bushel of hatred, pales in comparison. No need for further words. I turned around, opened the iron gate, and stepped out. Patrick's figure came into view. He came to visit Elizabeth. Unaware of his presence, Elizabeth continued her tirade. You filthy whore, you bitch, don't you dare run away, haha. So, what if you went in tea? I still steal your Patrick from you. Truth is, I never liked him at all. He's just a narcissist who actually believes a girl would chase after him for 6 years. I only hated you, so I wanted to take him from you, and I succeeded. Once I'm out, I'll take Patrick to a hotel and film it for you to see. I'll make sure you die of rage. As she spoke, her voice trailed off into silence, because Patrick had already walked in, staring at her with a face ashen with anger. Since the police made me leave, I couldn't watch the show anymore, and had to close the door and walk away. 18. I've become famous online. Provincial top scorer bully, this dual identity attracted countless online traffic. Fortunately, the truth came to light, and I shed the label of being a bully. As a result, the traffic grew even more. But I didn't capitalize on this wave of attention. My family isn't short on money, and I'm naturally a quiet person, not cut out to be an internet celebrity. But my photos still went viral, inexplicably earning me the title of top scholar beauty, hailed as the most beautiful Gaokao top scorer. Even my daily vlog account blew up, gaining 500,000 followers in a week. Had no choice but to keep posting daily life updates, treating it like a personal social media feed. On the day Elizabeth was released from prison, she published a newspaper apology to me, then completely vanished from public view. She faced severe cyberbullying to the extent that someone even came to her door to throw feces. She had no choice but to flee. Patrick had disappeared without a trace, remaining silent all this time. It wasn't until late August, as I waited at the airport with my luggage, that things changed. Patrick appeared behind me, standing there silently for a long while without saying a word. It was I who noticed him and asked what was wrong. With his tall, straight figure and striking looks, he stood out at the airport, becoming the center of attention. Some even secretly took photos of him. Yet when facing me, he stammered, looking as bitter as a child who had done something wrong. Losing patience, I dragged my luggage toward the departure lounge. Patrick caught up and finally spoke. Peking University, didn't he accept me? I'm going to Fudan. That's good. Fudan is also a top-tier university, more than worthy of Patrick. Another stretch of silence passed before Patrick said hoarsely, Clara, I know no amount of talking will change things now. I just want to ask, can we? He paused again after a long wait. He finally said, Clara, can we get back together? No, he was lying. Patrick instantly turned deathly pale, nearly losing his balance. I walked away. He wanted to stop me, but couldn't utter another word. Patrick was smart. He knew my temperament all too well. What I've decided, he can't change. There's no turning back now. In the end, Patrick whispered, I'm sorry, Clara. 19. My time at Peking University went smoothly, with everything falling into place. Elizabeth's matter was also cast aside by me, never to be thought of again. However, when I returned home for the new year, an old classmate told me something. Patrick went to Fudan University, right? Elizabeth actually followed him there, desperately clinging to him, crying, and making scenes on campus every day. Elizabeth had been cyberbullied before, and developed some mental issues. She's probably gone a bit mad. They've become the biggest news at Fudan. Just imagine, Patrick is so handsome, always the center of attention wherever he goes, yet he's constantly followed around by a shrieking madwoman. What a sight to behold. I perked up at this. What an absolutely glorious scene. And then Patrick couldn't take it anymore and dropped out. Elizabeth still wouldn't leave him alone. Heard she even got him drunk and took advantage of him. Now she's several months pregnant. Now there's no escaping it. They're bound together for life. Who knows when this nightmare will end? Hee. The old classmate burst into laughter, absolutely thrilled. I grinned from ear to ear. Is that so? This is absolutely amazing, hee.